Okay, so what happened was a couple months ago, I had my Invisalign, and I don't usually put it in its case. I usually wrap it up in a napkin because I'm lazy. And usually there's always napkins around for me to use. And I've always been very careful because I never put it on the table or on the plate or the food or whatever I'm eating. I always wrap it up, put it in my pocket. That way I never forget it. But this one time, I didn't wrap it. I just put it in my pocket. And I think it happened when I was in the HEB parking lot and I was reaching for my keys. It must have happened then. They must have fallen out. Because after that, I lost them. And then I was like, okay, I can just go back to my old ones. And then I couldn't find my old ones. So then I had to go back another one, and I was wearing that one. And then I must have forgotten about my dentist appointment because it had been like, usually they call me before my dentist appointment and let me know. They're like, hey, you have a dentist appointment tomorrow. You still good, good to go or whatever. And I was like, yes, I am. And usually I would have forgotten by that point and I would have been like, thank God they called me. So I'm usually counting on them to remind me. And they didn't, so I must have missed it. And then because I'm so forgetful, and then I called one day and I was like, hey, do I have a dentist appointment anytime soon? She was like, no, you don't have anything on record. And I was like, can you set me up one? And she was like, great, I can set you up for a dentist appointment a month from now. And I was like,
1 month later.
great. So it's been like this whole ordeal. And so when I got there, first of all, I was kind of ashamed for losing my Invisalign and then losing the other one, so I just said that I had lost the one that, the previous one. I was like, well, I had lost it, this is the one I was wearing before, and he was all like, okay, how long have you been wearing it? And I was like, a really long time because I missed our appointment, so I've been wearing it for like 4 months.
Oh, jeez.
Right, because each dentist appointment I have is not per month, it's per 2 months.
Oh, wow, so a long
And I didn't
time.
call until like 3 months later. Till I was like, I haven't been to the dentist in a while. And then she had to schedule me for a month later. So, I had finally got my new cases for my Invisalign, and it hurts so fucking bad because I haven't been wearing my Invisalign, and the ones I was wearing have been literally like 3 Invisaligns behind, right? So I'm just like on a whole different thing, and it hurts so bad. And that's what I'm going through right now. I was gonna tell a story about my dream, but then I was like, no, this is a much better story.
And that's why Abby sounds like she's in so much pain.
Yeah. And if you hear a lot of slurping, it's because I'm getting used to the
Invisalign.
Yeah, my mouth is secreting a lot of saliva because I'm in pain.
There used to be this old joke, like a church joke that I used to say where it was like, where I'd get up and I was like doing a talk and I'd be like, so whenever I get up to do a talk, I get really nervous and my mouth gets really dry and my, feet get really sweaty. So if I put my foot in my mouth, don't worry, I'm just thirsty. Yeah, that's what it reminds. And it's gross.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, hilarious but gross. Anyway.
Yeah, it is gross.
But who cares?
Right.
Right. So this is
Abby.
And I'm Kadisha. And this is Who Cares? Okay. So today we are going to be talking about musicals.
Yes.
Yay.
We are big musical fans.
Yeah, our whole family. We're just like huge fans of musicals.
It all started with Mom.
And it just came to us. And one day our children will be big musical fans.
Well, they better be.
Yeah.
Dominic better be, I swear to you.
I wouldn't.
Because he's the child of Chris.
Yeah, I'd worry. Chris is not a musical fan, although he does have a few musicals that he's like, if I have to watch a musical, I'd rather watch these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to be watching. We are going to be watching musicals, but not with you. We are going to be talking about musicals that are controversial.
Right.
and the reasons why they're controversial, what makes them controversial, and I guess it'll also be like rare musicals.
Yeah.
Because
Musicals
some
that
of
you
these
probably haven't heard of.
musicals, yeah. And if they are ones that we really like, then we will tell you that you should
Go watch it.
go do it. Be a part of this.
We're not sponsored by Warner
Any of them.
Brothers, Disney, none of those people.
No.
And I swear most of the musicals we're going to be talking about are from Warner Brothers.
Yeah, only because Warner Brothers has been around so freaking long.
Yeah. They've been here forever.
Literally forever. And, yeah.
Yeah. And well, I think I should give some background to why we know so many of these old musicals. It's not like we watched them as a kid, but we
Some of them we
Khadijah.
did.
Yeah, some of them we did, like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yeah.
But Khadijah got this gift. I don't remember who it was from or what.
I believe it was from Mom.
Okay, she got a gift of like 100. Oh no,
Warner Brothers. That's the Warner Brothers set. But the musicals, that's I believe it's 30 musicals.
Yeah.
And they
It
are
started with like the first, like almost
Ever
the
musical.
first ever musical.
the first that one, and it's a shy excuse of a musical, and the reason I say that is because musicals today,
silent
it
film.
wouldn't be like that then. But it was the first film that had music with people actually singing in it. That's what made it a musical.
Right.
And it was very interesting watching all of these old musicals. I mean, the very first one, The Jazz Singer, was in black and white. It was a
And
silent
It was
film.
a silent film, yeah. Except for the musical parts.
Yes, and
The only time that they had sound, and this was like right at the beginning when they were starting to make.
they were experimenting with
Yeah.
sound, essentially. Like talking pictures. It was like
Yeah.
a big deal.
Talking pictures, yeah.
Talking pictures. It reminds me of Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
A talking picture. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so that was like really right at the beginning. And the only sound that they had was the musicals, like the songs that they would sing, and they only had like 2-3 songs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, they had a couple at the end when he was doing the actual performance.
Oh, okay. More songs. Anyway. So that's why we know all of these like really old ones that you have not heard of, like The Jazz Singer, unless you have heard of it, in which I stand wildly corrected.
And in which case, this is the video for you. This is something you should be listening to because
Right.
you're ready. You came prepared. You did the research. You did the assignment. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we could start with The Jazz Singer. It's the oldest one that we know of.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it was 1920 something.
it was
27.
again the very first musical film. It was black and white.
Mhm.
It was a silent film except for the music, and of course it had a lot of jazz. That was the big thing. Okay, what we've learned from watching a lot of old musicals is apparently you had to know jazz and you had to tap dance. Tap dancing was a must if you wanted to be in the musical industry, because apparently all talent then was tap dancing.
Nothing but tap dancing. Like every single movie we had watched in probably up to the 50s.
Yeah.
Even
After
that.
the 50s, even when they were doing films that were about, like when it was wild, because some of the films that we watched, some of the musicals we watched were about when musicals were just coming out.
Like Singing in the Rain.
Like Singing in the Rain. And those had a ton of tap dancing, so...
Yes. But like even in the 50s, tap dancing is such a huge thing. Like it's
Like Gene Kelly, like, oh gosh, what's her name?
Frank Sinatra.
Oh yeah, Frank Sinatra, don't even get... He's incredible too.
There was that one famous dancer guy.
Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is it? Ginger Rogers. If I say this wrong, Ginger Rogers, I think. She was also a very famous tap dancer, but I don't think we saw her in anything. But I always think of them together. It was like Fred and Ginger. It was a big deal because they were always like dancing together.
Oh well.
And so yeah, but yeah, tap dancing, it's a must. So if you're planning on
Huge.
going back in time and being a part of the musical industry, learn to tap dance.
Yes.
It's necessary.
Yeah. Otherwise, you will not make it in show business.
No.
Everybody knows how to tap dance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally everyone. It's fine. So what was so controversial about the jazz singer?
Jazz singer. I barely even remember what that was about, right?
It was about a Jewish guy. He was Jewish, and he ended up changing his name so that he could become famous.
He wanted to perform, but
his dad,
father...
he was a rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't like against the Jewish faith or anything. He still like believed in it.
Right, but he didn't want to be a singer for it. He wanted to be an entertainer.
Yes, and his father, who was a rabbi, wanted him to sing for the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wanted that to be, like, his main job, because he had such a beautiful voice and whatever.
Right.
Which, nice that,
he had a nice voice.
Yeah, he had a very nice voice. But...
Nice that he wanted his son to use his gifts for what he believed in or whatever.
Yes, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be an entertainer, like you were saying, and he wanted to be famous.
Yeah, but the father was obviously the bad guy of the movie. I mean,
yes,
he was the father who would beat the kid, right?
Yeah,
with the belt, and the mom was like crying. Oh gosh, it was awful.
It was wild. Like he was like, "Come in here, I'm gonna whoop you," and the mom was like, "Don't do it, please, no." And the kid was like, I'm gonna run away." It was like a whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he like performed as a kid and lots of other stuff. And then his father was dying. Wait, no. Okay, so
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
his father was dying. And then there was a rehearsal. It was like the dress rehearsal. It wasn't even the actual performance, which I appreciated because then he could go to the performance, right? But it was a dress rehearsal, and he wanted him to come there
and sing.
Yeah.
Sing at the holy place that they're at. I don't know. Synagogue.
I believe that's what it's called, but I'm not Jewish, so I don't know. Okay. If we said that wrong, our apologies. We're not Jewish.
Sorry. No. Anyway, so they went to go sing in the holy place where they worship and stuff. Yeah, and he did end up going. He missed the rehearsal. He went to go sing, and his father was all like, "I'm so proud of you." And then the father dies. Yeah. And then the jazz singer, he goes back and he performs his performance.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that you know the plot or what happens,
now we can talk about what really sticks in our mind.
What really is...
I am going to tell this story.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm going to tell it in a way that will give you guys where we were. So we were watching this film like, wow, silent film. Besides The Jazz Singer, until then, I hadn't seen a silent film.
Yeah.
So to us, this is brand new. And we're excited because we like historical, especially about musicals. This is big for us. We're like, okay, this has been really interesting. Kind of boring because it's a silent film. But the music has been interesting and the story is really interesting. The dad just died. That's a shame. But now he's going to go to his performance. So everything really worked out. And we're like so excited. And he's sitting there getting ready for the performance. He comes into the dressing room and he sits down at the table and he's talking to his friend. And all of a sudden he gets out this, it's like a little dish of makeup. Tray. And he rubs his hand in it, like a lot of it, and I was like, that's a lot. And then he starts rubbing it on his face, and I'm like, is that shoe polish? And he's rubbing it all over, literally all over his face, and it's like dark. It's really dark. In fact, I would say black. And all of a sudden, Abby and I are just kind of staring like, what is happening? And he has covered his entire face. And then he takes out a little afro wig.
Oh my gosh.
And puts it on top. And we're like, we are watching someone perform in blackface right now. In fact, we rewinded it because we just couldn't believe we were watching it.
And it started off with laughter. I swear I was like, what?
Yeah, we were just like laughing like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're watching this right now.
Right.
And he just went out and did a performance of Mammy. Mammy is the song. That's the song that always... It's that song. Anyway.
Okay, he was singing it, and I was like...
And we were just amazed. We couldn't believe we were watching it. And we were like, wow. Just wow. And the thing was, everyone was watching it. He was talking to somebody at the time, and they were totally unfazed. Everyone in the audience, totally unfazed.
Yeah. I think that's what's most remarkable is that everyone acted like it was so normal. Like it wasn't even like highlighted or brought up. It was just he was doing a performance. That's what it was. And we were all like, what is happening? I was amazed, I was astounded, I was horrified.
Yeah, all at the same time.
They didn't even blink an eye.
No, and that, which we talked about later, that was the time. We were watching time unfold.
Yeah.
People went to performances like this. Like, people who went and saw this movie in a theater or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And went and saw The Jazz Singer when it first came out in theater. It was a big deal. They're like, music. That part came, and they didn't even think about it. We're watching it, and we're like, what? And it's like a crazy thing. And that part came for them, and it, like, nothing even came up in their minds. They were like,
this is normal.
This is normal.
This happens
This
like,
is normal
all the time.
Yeah, I went to a blackface event just the other day.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, yeah, whatever.
This is life.
This is how things go.
Yeah,
and
this is how it is.
I was just, it was amazed to be a part of a horrible history.
Yes, we were a part of. I felt like I was a part of it. I mean, obviously we
we
not
weren't
a part of it,
but it's like
we got to see it. We got to see it like.
And that
it
is
was really
why
like.
we're going to say The Jazz Singer is controversial.
Yes.
Because there is straight up blackface in it.
Straight up.
And it's not like, because I have seen some people talking about blackface or doing it in movies about like stuff that has happened in the past, like race movies and things like that. So, now. But to see it and it be nothing, that's what's really controversial about this. I mean, to me.
I mean, it just...
You should have seen our faces. I wish we had, like, caught that moment. I will, like, frame our faces. Like, we were, like, slack-jawed. Like, you know those horrible pictures where people are like, what? That was us.
Like, we did not see it coming.
No.
I did not see it at all coming.
No.
Nothing in that movie had ever hinted to that happening until it happened, and I was
But,
like...
I mean, why would it? Because to them, it was nothing. You know what I mean? Like, if this had happened in, like, a movie about, like, performing race and performing and stuff, if it happened and they just put this movie out today, I would be like, there's gonna show some black... You know what I mean?
Yeah, there would have been some kind of build-up to it.
But there wasn't.
No.
And we were not prepared. I mean, who is? Who can be prepared, Abby?
Yeah. I think I remember I went back in that movie and I watched the commentary
Yes.
a little bit on it, and because I wanted to hear what the commentators had to say about this. And the guy was all like, well, I think it was the producer.
I don't know.
Someone who actually worked on the film,
yeah.
and then someone who was just working at Warner Brothers or something.
At the time.
Yeah. Or, I don't really remember. But they were talking about it, and he was like, well, you know, the thing about this is that they didn't actually do blackface. It wasn't, like, supposed to be about black people. Sometimes they would do it just to accentuate their features, like their mouth and their eyes. And for that, I call bullshit.
Yeah, because, why the afro?
Yeah, if that's the case, why the afro?
Not to mention that later on, this is another great story. Later on, we looked at the special features for that movie. And he straight up did another performance of Mammy in blackface, where he was wearing nothing but rags.
And he was
on a cotton farm.
Yeah.
Literally. There were chickens in the performance that were just, like, walking around at his feet. And I was like, so it's just to accentuate your features? Is that it? I can really see your mouth and your eyes as you act this racist. That's fine.
I think maybe in some performances that was the case, but definitely not in this one.
No.
Yeah. And Mammy. That song. Apparently it was a really big deal. It was really famous. Everybody knew it probably.
Yeah.
Because not only was that song in that movie, but it was in
almost every movie for that entire disc, set. That was like almost 10 movies leading up to Singing in the Rain. And it must have been like 9 or 10 movies, really.
You know what? Let me go get the case. I'm gonna go get it.
Go get the
'Cause
case.
so that we can talk about this in actuality.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. But anyway, that song came up in like every Abby's gone now. It's just me and you guys. Just us. It's just us now. We can talk about Abby behind her back. Or I could just tell you that song came up in like every musical leading up to Singing in the Rain, including Singing in the Rain. In the special features of Singing in the Rain, they did this like showing of this dog film, which was just wild. If you ever have the special features for Singing in the Rain, go see it. But pretty much every single musical leading up to Singing in the Rain in that set had a showing of Mammy in it. And some of them were in blackface. And I seem to recall that one of the movies that we watched had the main woman in blackface too. Remember that? They were like marching in a row. Yeah, blackface.
Family.
The whole... Oh, it was a family!
Yes.
It was, Yankee Doodle. It was that family, right?
Yes. Yankee Doodle Dandy, right?
Yes, Yankee Doodle Dandy. And they were like a family of performers, and they were the ones. And the mom and the sister were just straight up there.
In blackface. I was like, here we go again. Like, we were watching each and every one of these movies in a row. From...
I will say The Wizard of Oz
1920.
didn't have any blackface in it.
Oh, yeah. It didn't. But
That one
still.
was old, and it was in that set, but every other one I'm pretty sure, like really.
Yeah, okay. Broadway Melodies?
Yes,
That had it.
Yes. 42nd Street, definitely.
Oh, yeah. You know what I remember about 42nd Street? I think it was like they had these black kids performing on the street. And I was
Yeah.
all like, hey, that's like the first
That was the first time that we saw African American people.
on the screen getting some screen time.
Yeah,
Like,
without being like a maid
yes.
or the butler or like a train conductor. Like they were just dancing on the street and they were tap dancing, of course, tap dancing again, and yeah.
I don't remember which one it was, where there was a black lady and she was a maid, and she got like a line. I was like,
And she straight up talked. That was the first time we heard someone talk who was African American.
yes, I was like, hey, she got a line. They gave her
Yeah.
a line.
Now I will say,
I don't remember which movie it was.
I would like to talk about. I think we're done talking about The Jazz Singer, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
That was controversial, and you know the reason why now. I wanted to say that one of the great musicals that I really enjoyed, but was also very controversial for its time, was Showboat.
Mm.
Showboat, the reason that the woman got kicked out of the town was because she was half black. They like found out, remember? And they were going to put them in jail and put the man in jail because he was a white man who had married a half black woman.
Oh, wow.
But then remember he claimed that he was half black too,
Oh.
so that they could be together. But they still got kicked out of the town for what they had done. I guess it was pretending to be white. And I was amazed because that was pretty controversial for an old movie. Like, and also Old Man River was in that movie, that song.
Yes. That song.
That song is
hit
intense and
too
it made me
deep.
cry. Like, oh my gosh.
It was literally about, African Americans.
Struggling,
Yeah.
essentially. Struggling with the fear of living in a world that they were living in.
Yeah.
And like one of the lines was like, you know, I'm tired of living and I'm scared of dying.
Yes.
And
Oh, God. that
I know,
song.
it like gives me chills just thinking about it. And the man who sang it was incredible.
It was so beautiful.
And he was an African American man. He was black and he was incredible. I mean, he sang it beautifully. It really hit you.
I was surprised that they even put that song in there.
It was amazing. Like, again, such an old movie. And that seems so controversial, especially for its time. It's not like The Jazz Singer, which is controversial for our time. Okay, that was controversial for its time. Like, that was a big deal.
Because
They were
they
taking a
were-
stand. They were saying
Yeah.
things. They were making this Americana, you know, for the African American known. They were putting it out there, taking a stand. Like, this was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's also a really good musical. I enjoyed it.
It was alright.
Oh, well. Please. Howard Keel was in it. I mean, Howard Keel is in everything.
I guess.
Apparently,
Yeah, he is in everything.
if you want to make a Western musical, Howard Keel has to be in it.
Otherwise, no.
Speaking of Howard Keel, I think we should move on to one of my favorite Howard Keel movies, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yes.
Yes.
Probably the first movie I saw with him in it.
Yes. Yes, also me.
We grew up with that movie.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how many times I rewatched that movie. I would be like, okay, yeah, it's over, play it again.
Rewind, like when you had the VHS.
Yes.
You're like, click rewind, and you have to wait for it to go zzz. Anyway.
And then play.
Yeah, and then play, and then it has that whole little moment where you rewinded too far. I don't know if you remember this. But, like, as a VHS kid, you all know what I'm talking about, where, like, you rewinded all the way, where the film hasn't even reached the part where there's anything on it, so it's just, you know, it's going, and it's playing, and there's nothing on the screen. It's, like, empty, and then it's like, oh, yes, there is stuff, and it starts to play. Yeah. But,
we didn't have the Some Brothers on the thing that you said.
VHS?
Yeah, VHS.
Y'all had it on DVD by that point.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Also on
VHS is how it goes. On what?
Should we out Mom?
No, let's not do that.
Okay.
I think
Sorry.
the statute of limitations has not run out. Okay, so Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Ignore what just happened. Everything is fine, and we are a perfectly legal
Everything that we have done has
been
legal.
above board.
Yes.
Okay? We are like, yeah.
Anyway, okay, so Seven Brothers for Seven Brothers. I would watch that movie on repeat, and I think the reason it is so controversial is because there is kidnapping
In the movie, and you're for it.
Yes.
As the audience, you are for the kidnapping.
Yeah, as the audience, they make you feel bad for the kidnappers. They have you sympathize with them because they are the heroes.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty intense. So the whole premise of the film, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, don't worry about us telling you the story. The music is so great, you're not even gonna care that you know the story.
Watch
the premise of the story is that Howard Keel plays a man named Adam, and he wants to go and find himself Ponape. Yes, Ponape. He wants to go find himself
a bride.
A bride. Yeah.
He needs a wife. Yeah.
Because he can't cook, can't clean, and the whole world is going to all goodness for him.
Yeah, and plus he promised his brothers, he was like, this time
I'm
I'm
home
gonna
with a wife. Yeah.
coming home with a wife.
Yeah. I think he did it mostly for his pride. But he ends up finding a woman named Millie, who's awesome.
She's the greatest.
Yeah. And she's like, wow. And she works in a place where she is serving food and cleaning for I guess like a restaurant kind of thing, a diner.
A restaurant, yeah.
And she works there feeding.
Assuming everyone in that village eats there because everybody knows her.
Yeah.
Especially all the bachelors who are looking for
women, yeah, and they all love her because she cooks great, and you know they all know her, Millie.
Right.
We all know Millie.
But so far she hasn't been with anyone. Like she said that she had tried to be with other people, but she wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, lots of people had come to what they call court her because you know, you didn't really go and be like, hey, let's go hang out, you know, like you would have to like work your way up to it back then.
Right,
if you were a gentleman and a lady.
But
exactly, a picnic, that seems very
let's go on a picnic.
Yeah, but she had been like, no, I don't want your picnic, to all these men.
Right, she was like, get away from me.
Yeah, and then Adam came up and he didn't court her. He came up and was like, how's about we just get married, be my wife? And she was like,
what?
But she said yes.
She was probably like, I don't, what? So surprised. She was probably like really
like, wow, yeah.
Yeah, like, what is it, smitten? Smitten. She was all blushy, like, really?
He
Do
straight
you
up
just
was like,
want to be? You want me to be
Marry me.
your wife?
and she said yes. And she later says that what happened was she kept getting this feeling every time a man would come and try and, like introduce himself or, show his interest, and she would get a feeling and she would be like, no, that's a no-go for me.
No.
And she waited for the feeling to come for Adam, and it didn't come. And I guess it was love at first sight. And it does turn out that they were meant to be.
Yeah.
It does turn
They're
out
good
that
for each
they
other.
were, they loved each other, and it worked out. But it doesn't often, so any guys who are listening to this, maybe try asking them on a date first.
Yeah.
Before jumping straight to marriage. But if you
Also
sing like
trying to-
Howard Keel, you have a good sporting chance. Okay? Because, oh my goodness, his voice.
Anyway. So yeah. She says yes. She's like, I'll marry you.
I'm so
And then-
happy that I am only cooking for one man.
Yeah, she gets all excited. She's all like, to finally cook and clean for one man.
And
Just
he's like,
one.
but he doesn't
Actually-
say anything. No, he doesn't. Well,
He
she does
tried.
start singing.
Yeah, he
Well,
was
he's
like,
trying.
well, actually, and then she starts singing, and he's like,
I
"Don't
did my
wanna
best."
interrupt what's going on here. So then they go back to his home in the country, and they live far away from her village,
Village.
uh,
It's like a town.
town, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, like past the mountains and stuff.
Yeah, they like it's like a journey, like a day's journey almost, right?
Probably, yeah.
It doesn't look like they spent the night anywhere, but it was like a day's journey at least.
Yeah, I'd say that. Okay, so they end up going back to his home, his farm, and his 7 brothers show up, and she's
6.
all...
There's
oh,
7 with him,
sorry.
remember?
Right, okay. 6 brothers show up, and she's all like, you didn't tell me you had brothers, and he was
Yeah,
like,
he like started naming off these guys. She's like, "Oh, you guys live all around here?" And they're like, "Not around.
here.
This is where we live." And she's like, "I should have picked some more sorrel." She like grabbed this like herbs and stuff on her way. She was like, "I'm gonna need more." And yeah, he like starts naming off guys. Yeah. Anyway, so they're all alphabetical. So actually we know all their names, but only because they're alphabetical. Like that's what makes it easy. Their parents named them. So like Adam is the eldest, and then it's Benjamin, Caleb, Daniel, Ephraim, Frank, and Gideon. And they are named after Bible names.
Right, and she notices it immediately, and she's all like, they're all Bible names except for Frank. I've never heard that name before.
And they go, "Oh, we couldn't find a name that was F in the Bible, so our mom named him Frankincense because he smelled so sweet." And Frank like knocks him out. I guess he.
There's so much fighting in
Yeah,
this
and she's like, "Oh my gosh, should we stop him?" And Adam's like, "Nah, he's just sensitive about his name."
let him go. And they're like punching each other and
Knocking each other
up.
down, ruining tables that she apparently has to clean now.
Right, yeah.
And the house is like a mess. It's like an ungodly mess.
Yeah. Dust everywhere. There's chickens on the table. I don't know.
Yeah. Gideon's got his feet all up and he's like, get down, there's a lady in the house.
Poor Gideon.
Yeah. Gideon's the youngest, and you can tell because they treat him like crap.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
So later on in the film, she like teaches them how to be gentlemen and stuff, and she's trying to stop them from being crazy fighting woodsmen. And
right. I forgot that we have to summarize. I
Yes.
was just talking about the movie. Anyway.
yeah. So yeah, we can't tell them everything. Gosh, we're gonna sing the
Every
songs.
single deal.
You know,
detail.
we could. Sometimes listening to the musical score, even if there's no words, I know exactly what's happening in the movie just listening to the music.
Yeah. Just like there's this whole scene where they're dancing.
I
and
know.
It's all music.
When like Gideon's
and I
like
know-
jumping over the axe.
Yeah, I know exactly where everyone is.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Alice is over there, Gideon's over here, Frank is doing his thing. Anyway.
Yes. So, what occurred was she's trying to teach them how to be gentlemen. They meet these women in the town.
Mhm.
Women who are already spoken for. They already have suitors or people who are courting them. They're kind of dating. And
And they're all part of the town already.
everyone knows
And-
them, and they're good gentlemen, and they all have jobs, and like it's a deal.
And a thing with this village is that everyone knows the Ponape brothers.
As these scroungy.
Backwoodsmen.
Yeah. And,
They don't like them.
No.
They're all like, they always are coming to our town, messing up stuff, and
trying to steal our women, talking to our women.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
like Adam stealing Millie. They were
they were
sore
really
about
mad
that.
about Millie leaving with Adam. But, she was happy, and that's great for her.
Anyway,
Yeah,
So-
so they meet these women, and the women actually like them.
yeah,
They
they're
actually
all
really like 'em.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you guys are so gentlemanly now. Millie's like, yeah, I taught them that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And so they're really nice, and they're all really handsome. That's
Yeah.
like the running thing. The Ponapis are really handsome brothers.
Yes. And so they go to a barn raising, and there's a huge fight later on, even though they said they weren't going to fight. And
Right.
then they're really sad about it, and they go home.
And they're
And
upset because they
Love these women.
They
They want to be
have
with
all
them.
these feelings, but they feel like they've ruined it, and the town
Doesn't like them because
doesn't
of the
like-
fights and because
yeah.
of everything. And the people that they were fighting were pretty much these men who the women were dating and their fathers.
Yeah,
Like,
their
they're-
family.
their families. They're like fighting these men who are their family, like brothers and fathers and everything.
Right.
So Adam comes in and he's like, well, since I didn't have to work for a woman, y'all don't either.
Yeah, he's all like, I don't see why you're going about all this.
Sadness.
Yeah. Why are you so upset? Just go get them. I don't understand.
He straight up convinces them to go and steal these women. He's like, I have an idea. Instead of giving them a choice, go snatch them.
Yeah.
And they do.
Go,
They're like,
go get them.
what an idea. And
They're
they
like, we
all
love it.
go down there with these blankets and they like throw the blankets over the women's head, pick them up, take them away.
Kidnap them.
Kidnap them straight from their
Stole them
homes.
in the night. My favorite is when he grabs what's her name from the window. She's like, she's taking a pie out to put
Yeah,
on the
she
windowsill.
puts the pie on the sill and then whoo, she's gone.
just like out the window.
He like stole her.
Hilarious.
Probably took the pie too. It's like a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so
They're running. They're
Right.
running
And
because
then
all
the
the men
fathers-
are finding out that the women are missing, and they're like, "Let's go get them."
right, and so they're chasing him, and they're going. They're trying to go back to their farm. Yeah, and it's like in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
and they're passing through the mountains, and they don't want to cause an avalanche.
So they are holding the women's mouths, so that, which is actually good because they would have all died. But they're holding the women's mouths because the women were all screaming, "Ah, no, don't take me!" because they were kidnapped.
So they're all like trying to be quiet and going through the pass.
But the men are all still coming, and they're a while behind.
Yeah.
Then when they pass through the pass,
They're all like, okay, let them go, and they make
the
all
women
these
scream
noise.
and they bring out guns and like start shooting, to get the noise, and it causes.
An avalanche.
And then the
And
avalanche
it's
comes,
huge.
and they realize that the men and the fathers and everything who are chasing, they realize that they're not going to be able to get through till spring when it melts because it's that big. It's like a mountain that fell.
Right.
So they straight up stole them and prevented
And made it
anyone
impossible
from saving them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then they get back and Millie's really mad. She's like, you can't snatch them up like they're a flapjack.
Right? And Adam's like,
I don't see why not.
Yeah, what's the problem?
And she's like,
Okay, you know what? We're gonna have some control around here. All of you boys, you're gonna go sleep in the barn with the sheep and the horses and shit.
you want to act like animals? You're going to sleep like animals.
Right.
And then she's like,
And
and
then
the
she-
girls are going to sleep in y'all's room where they're going to be safe and warm and sound, and you guys are going to stay away from them because this is not right. It's not cool. And she's like, you need to, at first she's like, you need to take them back right away. And they're like, we can't, there was an avalanche, ha ha ha. She was like, how could you have done this thing? You guys are impossible. Here I am trying to make you into gentlemen, and I've turned you
Poor
into
Millie.
animals.
Adam, you are a bad influence.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm supposed to be able to trust you, but you're out here convincing people to kidnap.
Right. And plus, it's like Adam is the older brother.
They look to him.
Yeah, he's admired by them. He's the leader.
Even though, they all do their own thing, because, they are men at this point. They're not, like, young.
Right.
They're men, but,
They look up to Adam.
yeah, because he's raised them pretty much since their parents were gone.
Uh-huh.
And And it's just hard because he's teaching them obviously not the good things. No, he's like the little bad devil on the shoulder who's like, go kidnap some women.
Right.
The other angel who's like, maybe not.
Maybe not kidnapping women. Turns out they don't like it all that much.
And the women are traumatized, crying,
Yes.
going into the house, and Adam's like, okay, and Millie's like, you go sleep in the barn too.
Yeah.
She's like, you're dead to me, and
Get out.
you've hurt my feelings. And then he's like, then I'm leaving. He's like, I'm not sleeping in the barn. I'm gonna leave. And he goes up to this hunting cabin, straight up abandons everyone.
Right. He's like, I'm out. Deuces.
Yeah, he caused this and then left. That's like me coming into the house, setting it on fire, and everyone's like in the living room.
And then everyone's mad at you, and you're just like, whoa, I'm out of here.
You know what? Y'all are acting like this is my fault. I'm gonna go. Everyone's burning, and I'm like, this isn't for me.
Wow. You guys are really ungrateful.
Yeah, and so he straight up leaves. And then we find out later that Millie is pregnant, and he
pregnant.
abandoned her.
Well, he didn't know.
Who cares? You don't leave your wife at all.
Yeah.
Not to mention it was your fault. She should leave you. Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I'm still hurt over this. I've seen this like a billion times, and I'm still like, you are such a jerk.
What an asshole.
Yeah, what a jerk.
Okay. So, he left. Millie's having this baby.
I'm sorry. We're having some
Is someone,
sound.
like, washing their hands or something?
Is it coming from something here, or is it coming from somewhere else? It's coming from somewhere else. Okay, well, y'all might hear some washing from someone who is outside our studio. It's gone.
It's over. Yeah. Outside of our studio, someone must
Not-
have been using some kind of hose or something.
Yeah, it's not.
Definitely not anything in the bathroom or a toilet or
Or
a sink.
closet. We're not in a closet. We're in a studio.
Yes.
So anyway,
Uh,
this Stockholm syndrome kind of sets in, and the women end up. They did have feelings for these men.
at first, right? And then they were kind of traumatized, kind of angry, kind of pissed
How
off.
could you kidnap
They
me?
were throwing snowballs at the guys.
Snowballs
jumping.
with rocks in them.
Right.
Yeah, rocks.
And poor
Poor
little
little
deers.
deers.
Okay. And then they were like dropping water on them and like the snow.
In the winter.
Yeah.
In the winter. Straight up in the winter. So they were freezing.
Anyway.
And the men are really suffering because they really like them.
right.
And they're like, wow,
well,
we really,
fucked up.
messed up.
We
We,
messed
like-
this up.
we thought we had messed up before with the whole fight. This is bad. They don't like us. But the women end up liking them, and then the women are supporting Millie with the pregnancy, so they all kind of become a little family.
Yeah, they end up just working together.
Being
living
together, yeah. Not living together in the same rooms or anything.
No, but they
end up
are all in the same area.
doing the farm work even together, like
Yeah.
everything they do. And so they kind of become this little family, and they really do fall in love with these men, and the men love them.
Right.
Then
And
spring
so
comes.
They're having a great time. Yeah.
Well, no, spring doesn't come yet. Gideon goes up to the hunting cabin and is like, Adam, your wife is pregnant, and he was like, no, she's not. You're lying.
And Gideon's all like, I'm not lying.
She's pregnant.
She's pregnant. She's having a baby.
She's having a girl, and he was like, a girl. Psh, I would have known she'd have a girl. I'm like, what?
Gideon is like, the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
He's like, you don't want to go and see your baby? And he's like, maybe.
And then Gideon, I think this is probably one of the best parts.
Yeah. So
Gideon is all like, you're my older brother. I've always looked up to you, and I wouldn't consider myself a man unless I show you how I felt. And then he straight up decks him in the face.
Yeah. And then Adam is really mad about it, but he doesn't hit him back.
Yeah,
which is
Adam
nice.
is all like, get your ass on the horse and get out of here.
And Gideon leaves, because, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
You've said all you need to, Gideon. You've said everything in that punch
Gideon
was what
did
needed
all
to be
he
said.
had. Did all he could.
Yeah. So then,
Spring rolls around, and the fathers and the brothers and
they all get
the
together
women,
like the pass is open.
Let's go
Snow
get
is
him.
melted. Let's go kill these guys
Yes.
and get our daughters back.
We're gonna. I believe what they said was we're gonna hang him by the nearest tree.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, I had asked someone, I don't remember who, I was like, what do they mean by that? And they were like, oh, they're just gonna hang them upside down, like, from their feet. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess that would suck.
Yeah. But no.
They wanted to
now
kill
that
them.
I'm older, I realized that they were gonna hang them and kill them.
Hanging actually leads to death, Abby.
Anyway.
Abby as a kid, that seems unpleasant.
It doesn't sound very nice. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, so
anyway.
they get there and the women hide.
The women do not want to leave. They want to stay with
They
them.
hide, and then the men are like dragging them out, and they're like,
Oh,
no, I want to stay.
And the brothers are like, you've got to go back to your family, because...
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Adam comes back, and he gets there, and he sees his daughter. And he has been thinking up at the cabin, he's learned his lesson. He's learning his lesson. And
He's
like saying, I don't know, I would be really angry if someone came and carried her off.
Right.
And he was like, I'd kill him. I'd kill him. And he was like,
if they took my kid, I would murder.
yeah. And
Death.
so he tells the brothers, and he's like talking to them, and he kind of convinces them that they have to go back.
Alright, they have to bring them back to their families, because
Yeah.
snatching them, not cool. Not a cool thing to do.
Yeah. And Gideon sides with him, and eventually all the men are like, you know what, you're right. You know, we love them, and we thought they loved us, but this isn't right. We don't want them this way. We have to take them back.
Right.
But the men are already on their way. The fathers and brothers and everything.
Right. They're on the way to get the ladies.
Boyfriends, whatever.
The ladies are hiding, because they don't want to leave.
They don't want to go back. And the
Right.
brothers are trying to get them to go back to
Right.
their fathers and everyone.
So the women are like screaming like, no, I don't want to go back, and they're like fighting them, and they're all like,
And so
"Come
the
on."
dads and sons get there, and they're like,
and they see them struggling, they're like fighting, and they're like, oh, hell no.
have they been doing this for like months?
Right, yeah. They're all like, get your hands off my little girl or whatever.
Yeah, and so then they grab all the brothers.
Yeah.
And, you know, the women are like, what are you going to do to them? And they're like, we're going to
hang them.
hang them. We're going to string them from the nearest tree.
Hmm.
And they're like, no, please, gosh, no. And they're crying. The women are crying. And they're like sobbing. And they're like wondering, how can we get out of this? And all of a sudden,
The father.
the father of Alice, a preacher,
Yeah.
he hears Millie's baby crying in the house. And he's like, oh no, not that.
Anything but that.
And so then he comes and he's like, girls, you know, we're not going to hold it against you. We're not going to, you know, treat you badly because of it. But I heard a baby. You know, which one of it?
Whose
Whose is it? You can tell us, you know, you can tell us.
We're all fathers here. We all love you. Come on.
You can tell us. And they're all like, ah.
I get it. And
It's
all of them together
At the same
once
time are
go,
like,
it's mine.
mine.
It's my
The baby's mine. And so I guess what kind of happens is the guys are like, they love them.
They all love each other, and
They're happy here. We don't want to take them from this. Then the men were, you know, trying to get them to come back, so they did regret what they had done. And then they are like, we're going to let you marry these men. And that's the
Because
part that
they had
never
a
made
baby.
sense to me.
Because eventually they're gonna realize there's only one baby.
Yeah. No, I believe it's really that they forgave them. Because
Okay.
Millie was next to the baby. How could they not know? Not to mention that winter, not enough time to have a baby.
Well, they
But
did
whatever.
go up in June and February and March and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
Is that 9 months? No, it's not.
No, it's not. That's like
Definitely
almost
less.
the whole year. Takes like almost a year to grow a baby.
Okay,
3
alright.
months short of a year.
Okay.
Trust me. No.
I do.
So, that's what happened. And the reason, I can't believe we just told that entire movie.
I know.
Okay. Well, that's for y'all's benefit. And I think honestly we should split this video.
You think so?
Yeah, I definitely do. So I think this is where we might have to close it off, and then we'll talk about some more next time.
Okay.
I think y'all should tune in for part 2 of controversial musicals. So the reason that one is controversial.
Yeah, let's finish talking about this one.
No, yeah.
So it's controversial because they kidnap women.
Yeah.
And then
There is a little bit of controversy over murder, like straight up trying to kill people.
yeah.
But I mean,
it
they
was in the
deserved it.
old times. But even though they learned their lesson,
I never.
still,
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
yeah, they still ended up getting the happy ending because they are the what is it, protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the protagonists, and they get the happy ending because they're the heroes, and they get the girl. They get all these things, even though they did all these horrible, awful things.
I mean, they straight up stole these women, and yet they still get away with it.
Right, they Stockholm syndromed them into loving them.
We come from a family of 4 girls and then a brother. We have a little brother.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't around a lot when we watched a lot of musicals. You know, he saw some, but we grew up watching this musical. There are 4 girls who would let their kids watch their daughters watch this, and we were like on the brother's side. I was on the brother's side. That's what's so crazy about this movie is they kidnap, and you're like, go kidnap them.
Yes, I'm like, when I was a kid, I was like, yes, here comes the kidnap part.
Like, that was the best part. I was like, that's so funny. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how much of that sunk in? Am I messed up for life? Like, I mean,
this
yes,
movie
but-
fucked us up good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So that's why it's really controversial.
yeah,
And,
but I still love that movie.
no, yeah, it's a great movie. Amazing music. Like, the
Yes.
music in that movie is incredible. What makes a good musical, in my opinion, is that the story has to be good, the music has to be good, and they have to have beautiful voices. If one of those 3 is gone, it can't be a great musical to me.
Yeah.
And I've seen
just not as
plenty
good.
of musicals which are not very good for one of those reasons. You
Oh.
have to have all 3, otherwise it's a no-go.
Otherwise, it's a not such a
Like
good
The Jazz
musical.
Singer, not so great. Not so great.
Not
The
loving
story wasn't great.
No.
The voices weren't great, but the music was really good. And even though the music was really good, didn't have the other 2. So it's a no-go for me.
Yeah. It wasn't
So
that
I
great
think-
of a movie.
What did we talk about? Just like a couple of musicals? We talked about The Jazz Singer, Showboat, and Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yeah, 3 movies
3 movies we got into
In
an
an
hour.
in an hour.
Well, then this might be a series. We might have to make this a series.
Oh wow.
That might
Okay.
be fun, though. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
we could do a whole series about talking about musicals.
Musicals, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we'll have its
'Cause we're
own
such
little
musical fans.
thing.
Okay, I think we're gonna end this here.
Yeah.
Sorry if we didn't get into enough of
But
what we want to talk about. or
This
whatever.
this is a perfect opportunity to say tune in for part 2 because we've
Yeah.
got a lot more great musicals,
So much we want to talk
great
about.
controversial musicals that we're gonna talk about. So,
So we'll see you next time.
yeah, this has been Kadisha,
And Abby.
and this is
Who
Who
Cares?
Cares? Because really, who does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.